In this video, I've got a Clash Royale Lavaloon guide with 7 tips on how to win more games with Lava Hound decks. So let's get right into it. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Mars back with another Clash Royale video. And as I said, guys, today we have a Clash Royale Lavaloon guide. I'm going to be sharing with you 7 tips on how to win more with Lava Hound, starting with the starting hand. So let's just hop into the first tip. So as I said, guys, the first tip I have for Lava Hound decks is every game you hop into, make sure to check your starting hand, because this is very important. Sometimes you're gonna have a starting hand like this where you don't have Lava Hound and it's not even your next card. And if you have a starting hand like this, you have to just kind of cycle patiently, try not to spend too much elixir, and try to slowly but surely get to your Lava Hound without allowing them to get that much damage. If you do start with your Lava Hound, it's okay to play it at the beginning of the game. Just make sure you have at least 1 or 2 good defensive cards in your hand. And with Lava Hound decks, these are usually going to be like the Barbarians or the Inferno Dragon, or some Lava Hound decks also have the Mega Minion, and that's a good defensive card too. Alright, guys, the second tip I have for Lava Hound decks is pretty simple, but it's just, if you know you're playing against a Hog Rider, make sure to have your Barbarians ready. Barbarians can easily shut down the Hog Rider every time. The only thing you have to be worried about is if your opponent knows you're going to put Barbarians and they do a prediction Fireball, then you could be in trouble, but just make sure to not be too obvious with your Barbarian placement every single time, and you'll be able to shut down the Hog Rider every time. Alright, guys, the third tip I have for Lava Hound decks is to try to cycle the deck so that you always have one of your ground cards available. The ground cards in my Lava Hound deck here are Barbarians and the Miner, although some Lava Hound decks also have a Tombstone or Guards or something like that. But as you can see in this game over here, I played my Barbarians, and then my opponent was able to go in for a Giant Skeleton and a Hog Rider right towards my tower, and since it was already overtime, he was able to take out my tower before I could get his, and I would have been able to stop this if I had even just a Miner to block the Giant Skeleton. If I had some sort of ground card, I could have blocked it, but since I didn't cycle and have any ground cards available, he was able to take my tower, and I took the L. Alright, guys, the fourth tip I have for Lava Hound decks is to play your Lava Hound after you just get a positive Elixir Trade. So in this scenario, my opponent goes for a Hog Rider, and I go for Barbarians to stop it. He gets no hits, but he also fireballed the Barbarians. So if you think about that, he spent a Hog and a Fireball, which is 8 Elixir, and I only spent 5 on the Barbarians. So then I knew I could go in for a Lava Hound in the back, and because I had just gotten that +3 Elixir Trade, I knew that he wasn't going to be able to like take my tower or anything right after I went in for the Lava Hound, so that's a great time to start up a Lava Hound push. Alright, guys, the fifth tip I have for Lavaloon is the game is never over until it's actually over. When you're running Lava Hound, you can always come back, and because of how the defense works, you could also lose a lead if you get too cocky. So the game is never over until it's over. Keep playing as well as you can throughout the entire game, and you're gonna win the most games you can. As you can see in this game, my opponent took my tower with like 45 seconds left, and I still had him at like 600. And then even after that, my tower was only at 1,000, and my king tower was at 1960. And his towers were at full HP. But if we skip ahead yet again in this game, he had my king tower all the way down to 300 something, and I just kept fighting and kept trying to take his other tower. And as you guys can see in the final seconds here, I get him down to 100 on his tower. I was able to keep just enough health on my towers to win the game on tiebreaker. An even better example of this is when I was playing a better player who had a Mega Knight Ram Rider deck, and his tower was at like 2,400. As you can see, my tower was only at 750. So I very could have easily just given up and said, you know what, this guy's pretty good. My tower's at 700 and I've done no damage. I might as well just give up. But as you can see, we defend his Ram Rider really well with those Barbarians right there. And then he ended up playing a bad Mega Knight on defense, and I was able to melt it with the Inferno Dragon for a positive trade, get the Balloon to the tower, get the Lava Hound to the tower, get some spell damage on his tower, and as you guys know with Lavaloon, one push can always end the game if you get a great Lavaloon push. You can take out their tower just like that. And I was able to keep my tower at 758 and take out his entire tower in just one push. All right, guys, my 6th tip for Lavaloon kind of ties in with the last one on never giving up. But the 6th tip is that sometimes the best defense is a relentless offense. This is especially true when you're using a Lavaloon deck and you're playing against a cycle deck like minor wall breakers or potentially something like log bait or something like that. But as you guys can see in this game, I had a 1 tower lead already, but my opponent had done some good damage to both of my towers. And with about 30 seconds remaining here, I figured that the best way to keep both of my towers alive was just to go in for a huge Lavaloon push with the Inferno Dragon and just spend all my Elixir on offense. And that way, if he spent like 5 or 7 Elixir on offense on one of my towers, then I knew that I would definitely take out his second tower, and luckily I did end up taking out the second tower anyway, but that just ensured that even if I lost one of my towers, I knew I was going to win the game 2-1, and luckily I even ended up winning 2-0. Alright guys, my 7th and final tip for Lavaloon is to know when to defend and when to not defend, and also when you do defend, try to defend for the least amount of Elixir possible. So as you can see in this first scenario, I go in for a Lava Hound, and then my opponent goes in for a Barb Barrel at the bridge, and that's 2 Elixir that I just don't really need to answer. Yes, he gets a little bit of damage, but it's better for me to just save my Elixir and try to back up my Lava Hound push. And then in this next example, guys, my opponent fireballed my miner right there, so I knew I could go in for a Lava Hound after that positive trade that I just got, and then he goes in for 7 Elixir with the miner, wall breakers, and spear goblins. And all I had to do was spend 3 Elixir and just arrow that stuff, and then that was another positive trade. And if we keep following this scenario through, I was able to zap his bats right there, go in for the Inferno Dragon, and then about 10 seconds later, I ended up going in for Skeleton Dragons 2, and it ended up with a dead tower for my opponent. And when you take a 1-0 lead on someone like that early with Lavaloon, a lot of times they just get demoralized, and you'll just be able to win the game very easily. So there we go, guys. Those are my 7 tips on Lavaloon, and that was my Clash Royale Lavaloon guide. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, got some good tips out of it, and I hope these tips help you out when you're using Lavaloon. But anyways, guys, if you made it this far in the video, make sure to click the like button and the subscribe button right now. Doing those little things takes like 1 or 2 seconds, but it benefits my channel tremendously, and I really appreciate it. And guys, I want to thank you so much for watching today's video. Make sure to check out my other Clash Royale videos if you haven't seen them already, and I will see you guys in a couple days with another Clash Royale video.